This is Aging Matters with your host, Robert Nations, on the news and talk of Sonoma County, 1350 KSRO.
Good, welcome. And this is Aging Matters, and I'm Robert Nations, and I'm so excited today. Number one, it's Friday. I always love Fridays because my weeks are so long. I love Friday, and I get to finish my Christmas shopping this weekend. And Michelle, did you get your Christmas shopping done?
I'm not completely done, but I'm done mostly with the people who live out of town. So this afternoon will be frantic getting those last two people.
Yeah, I've got to do a few little tweaks here and there, but for the most part, mine's done. It's all wrapped. It's under the tree.
Congratulations.
And speaking of Christmas, you know, what we talked about last week is I wanted to bring a couple of folks on to the show that had some technology that I'm finding really interesting.
Yeah.
That is really targeted to the aging population, and so I invited my friend David Glickman to come join us today. Welcome, David.
Oh, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And you have me scrambling down on a piece of paper my last-minute items for the holidays as well.
It's always that way.
So David's the co-founder of a company called Lively. And
Yes.
I like to refer to it as My Lively because their website's called mylively.com, but it's really officially Lively.
That's right. We started the company last year, and we're based here in the Bay Area in San Francisco, and excited to spend some time talking to you about it.
So let's talk a little bit about it. Where did the concept come from? Because I know you guys did a lot of research.
That's exactly right. We did a lot of research specifically in what many of us refer to as the aging space. And in particular, what we were really profoundly moved by was the number of people who truly passionately want to stay in their own home for as long as possible. Mm-hmm. And it's what, Bob, you live and breathe every single day with senior helpers. And what we saw was a lot of technology being tried to made available to this community, but it was expensive, it was hard to use. Mm-hmm. Frankly, oftentimes what we saw were things that were what the AARP has coined big, beige, and boring. And things that didn't have a lot of life to them, and even our name Lively communicates that. And so what we particularly saw was that with technology, very, very simple technology, and do it in a way that's very beautiful and designed with great aesthetic, we could create some products that would help elders who live independently share a little bit about their daily living patterns with their loved ones, with friends and family, and do it in a way that wasn't too intrusive, but all in an effort to help them stay independent as long as possible. And so part of Lively is about focusing on the physical well-being of our loved ones, and then we can get to it in a moment, but there's also a piece that's really about their emotional well-being and helping them feel more connected to their loved ones that in today's world sometimes don't live so close anymore. Mm-hmm. Back in the 20s and 30s, everybody was in the same community, sometimes the same home. Today, we're all spread out geographically, and sometimes even when we're in the same community, everybody's so busy, everybody's running around, carpooling, etc., that they oftentimes don't have as much time to spend with their loved ones. And so we'll talk about that. And we will. And it's interesting what you said, because we were just talking about it before we came on. As we grow older, we start relying more and more on routines. And My Lively really taps into that, because it's all about your behavior and the routines that you go through and identifying what those are. That's exactly right. So the way it works is we just created a very simple, what we call hub. So it's about the size, if it's maybe the palm of our hand, you plug it into the wall. It does not require any internet access in the home at all. You plug it in and it just starts working. And then there are 6 what we call passive sensors. And even some people who've written some nice stories about Lively have called them stylish sensors. So we start to say that now because we like that.
Yeah, that's a cool term.
Yeah, it's a good term that others have coined for us. So you take these stylish sensors and you put them on objects in the home, not on people. So it's not something that someone has to have on their own self or change their own patterns, but rather on things in the home that they use every day, like the refrigerator, like a pillbox, like their keychain to indicate when they maybe are out of the home and when they come back. Other people are using it for putting on the recliner chair, or even on a television remote. Anything that helps communicate what are in the industry or in the aging space called ADLs, or activities of daily living. And once you have these sensors on those objects, you just go about living. You don't change your patterns necessarily. And then we communicate that information back to our servers, as they say. And then the person who lives alone and family members, if the person who lives independently chooses to share it with those family members, get a little routine page on their phone or on the computer. Mm-hmm. And that page just indicates that everything's okay. Meaning, if I go into the kitchen and get things out of the refrigerator or get things out of the utensil drawer, if I take my medication when I'm supposed to, generally around the time I'm supposed to, if I'm being active and getting out of the house, then that routine dashboard has 4 smiley green faces. And in any of those categories, if something is amiss, or we think something might be amiss, like maybe you forgot to take your medication, a face turns to yellow. The person who lives independently gets what they can have a phone call made to them, an automatic phone call made to them, or they can get something on their computer if they're using a computer. They don't have to have a computer.
Right.
That reminds them to take their medication. If they then miss it, we can even have it remind their family members. But it's all in the control of the person who lives on their own. They get to decide who sees this information and, more importantly, maybe who doesn't, because people are really concerned about their privacy and their ability to stay independent. And so that's how the sensor part of Lively works.
So let's talk about break it down a little bit, because how I've been using it, because I've been using a couple of units myself, is I have a lady that lives on her own. Her husband has had to move to another community, and she lives on her own, and she's somewhat forgetful. And so what I did was I put the, what'd you call them, stylish sensors into her apartment, okay? So she's got 2 Mediset boxes. Mediset's a very common practice. People put their medicines in their Mediset, so they're reminded every day what to take. And so I put one on her AM, and I put one on her PM. And now every day when she goes to take her medicine in the morning, she turns her box upside down, and it registers with her My Lively stylish sensor that she's taken her medication. Okay. Then as the day goes on, one of the things I was concerned about with her is that without her husband there, she was going to start isolating, which is also a very common practice, and she wasn't going to get out. So I used the stylish sensor on her key fob, on her keychain. So now I know when she comes and goes. Okay.
And just one thing to add there, an important aspect of Lively is that we actually don't know exactly where they went. And that's the design for Lively. It's not for everyone, but for our people who are using this, that's a really important respect of privacy. So what's important is, in your example, we know that she's getting out, being active, and we know she's coming home. That's the 2 most important things.
That's right.
But it also respects her privacy and her independence, so it's not tracking her, if you will.
And that's exactly how I talked to her about it. So she's got one on her PM med box, so I keep track of that. And then it didn't work on her refrigerator, but it did work on her cabinet, because I said, okay, where's the dishes you normally use to make your meals? And we put it on her cabinet door. And I tell this story because, I follow her patterns. Every day I go to My Lively and I look it up and see how she's doing. And one day I noticed that she was gone for 4 hours. And I called, and I called, and I called, and it was not her pattern. And finally that evening I drove over and knocked on her door, and I said, where have you been? She goes, what are you talking about? I said, well, you usually go see your husband every day from this particular time period, and today you were gone for 4 hours, and I got worried about you. So what's going on? She goes, oh, I love the fact you care about me enough that you're keeping track of me.
Well, that's a really interesting point, and one that my business partner Iggy has said before as well, which is, for some people, what we really envision is just the fact that you're getting Lively for someone. It actually is more about the care that you have for them, and that you want to make sure they're okay, versus it being seen or felt as some system to watch them. It's much more about caring. Those who get this, it means they care about you.
Exactly.
And that's,
it's not like I'm wanting to watch you. It's just I care about you. I want to make
care
sure
about you, worry
about
about you, love you, and so forth.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's been interesting to follow her trends, because that's really what it's based on, because we tend to, as we said, do the routine thing, and that's really what it is, right? Because you follow the trend of her habits.
Exactly. So at the very beginning, when you set it up, you give us some information like, when do you usually take your medication? Would you like us to alert if there is activity throughout, if there's no activity in a certain category, once per day or twice per day? And then over time, about 30, 45 days, we will be able to have what we call a learning algorithm, kind of a techie term, but basically what it's doing is looking at those patterns. And so automatically we can kind of do what you described doing on your own, which is, oh, I noticed that there's a window of time that normally you are out of the home and you're not out of the home right now. And so we can automatically have some of that pattern recognition, as they call it.
And it's great. As David described, it's very easy to track. I get emails when when this woman is out of character or out of behavior. But it also, I can go check it online anytime I need to. And she doesn't really have family, so I'm kind of her adopted son, I guess, and keeping track of her. So it's worked out really nicely.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. The other part about Lively that's equally important is that emotional connection that I was talking about before. Because what we saw is a lot of companies were focused on the technology and focused on the physical well-being, which we've talked about that so far, and that's important, but it's not the only thing. In fact, a lot of studies show that emotional well-being is as important, if not more important, an indicator of someone deteriorating in health. So if they feel very isolated, if they feel very lonely, that accelerates their deterioration in health. And so the part about Lively that is a companion, if you will, is something called Livelygram. So when you set up Lively, it comes with it. You decide who in the family or friends or care teams can have access to that routine page that we've been talking about. But you can also invite people just to contribute to this thing called Livelygram. Very, very simply and quickly, it allows those family members to contribute photos using their phones or their computers, because they're on computers. And then twice a month in the U.S. mailbox shows a Livelygram. It comes in a bright orange envelope, and it has pictures and photos, and the elder does absolutely nothing. All they need to know how to do is go to their mailbox and get their mail.
Which they do every day anyway.
Which they do every day, and they look forward to doing it every day.
Absolutely.
And these are physical pictures that they get to page through and
These
look
are
at?
physical pictures that print out, and so at the end of the year, you have 24 little photo booklets. Think of it as, it's a perfect time. Think of it as the holiday cards that you get from family and friends, but you get it twice a month.
So before we take the break, let's take a pause and let's talk a little bit. We're talking to David Glickman with Lively. And how does someone get more information?
Great question. So a couple different ways. Bob already mentioned our website. That's a great way, which is www.mylively.com. So MY and then the word lively.com. We also have a team that is ready to take phone calls. We find for this product in particular, it's really important. People want to talk through it. So we have an 800 number, which is 888-757-0711.
So let's take that break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about some more ideas that I have about how to use Lively in the home.
Fabulous.
Sounds good. You are listening to Aging Matters, our newest Ask the Expert, hosted by Robert Nations. This is KSRO.
You've been listening to Aging Matters with Robert Nations on the news and talk of Sonoma County, 1350 KSRO.
Fast, accurate traffic updates on your way to work and your way home. 1350 KSRO, Sonoma County's #1 news, weather, and traffic station. Online at ksro.com.
Mom really wanted to stay in her own home, but I was concerned that between the kids and work, I couldn't always be there for her. And then my best friend told me about Senior Helpers.
Dad has been doing so much better now that Senior Helpers is there to help. Thank goodness for Senior Helpers.
In-home care, health and wellness care.
You know, Dad just refused to even talk about moving in with us, much less a home.
With Senior Helpers, I quit worrying about Mom missing her medication or not eating well, or worse yet, taking a fall.
Companion care, home care, Alzheimer's and dementia care. Care and comfort at a moment's notice.
Mom loves the extra help around the house.
We know Dad is getting the care and the comfort he needs.
Senior Helpers, professional trained caregivers. Visit us online or call Senior Helpers today to learn how we can help care for your loved one.
Go to seniorhelpers.com/Sonoma or call 707-525-1540.
Streets decorated with red bows, green holly, and mistletoe. The smell of apple cider and fresh sugar cookies with icing. Children with their faces pressed up against the glass, looking for the latest toys. Christmas at home, a time to celebrate the greatest gift ever given. It's a grand time, with people looking forward to giving their friends and family something useful. You know, not some gift that you'll never see again, just thrown into a closet somewhere to disappear. A gift that's useful in the everyday world. A gift that will last. Now that sounds like a good gift. That sounds like Hardesty's Homewares. Since 1924, they've supplied a lot of gifts for under the tree and seen many smiling faces. Getting something from Hardesty's will be one of the highlights of their Christmas. Not only everything for the kitchen, but a huge selection of electric shavers, too. Hardesty's Homewares. There's no place like home. There's no place like Hardesty's. Hardesty's Homewares, open Monday through Saturday in Farmers Lane Plaza at the corner of Farmers Lane and Bennett Valley Road. in Santa Rosa.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number.
Call 877-319-MY-TV.
The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money.
Call 877-319-MY-TV.
At just $24.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card.
Call 877-319-MY-TV. That's 877-319-MY-TV.
At Sports Authority, find the best holiday gifts for everyone on your list. We have thousands of items on sale now, like 25% off Nike fleece apparel and up to 50% off all treadmills, ellipticals, and exercise bikes. Plus, when you enter our $500,000 gift of sport holiday sweepstakes, you'll have your chance to win hundreds of prizes. Visit sportsauthority.com to enter and see official rules. Shop our great deals in-store and online today to see why there's nothing like the gift of sport. Sports Authority, all things sporting good.
1350 KSRO, the news and talk of Sonoma County.
This is Aging Matters with your host, Robert Nations, on the news and talk of Sonoma County, 1350 KSRO.
And welcome back. Again, it's Aging Matters, and I'm Robert Nations, and we're here talking with David Glickman, who is one of the co-founders of Lively. And it's a great technology that I discovered a couple of months ago. And if you're visiting family next week, Christmas, or even in the next 2 weeks through the holidays, and you're finding mom, dad just aren't doing as well as they used to, Lively becomes a great opportunity to kind of keep up with what's going on with them.
It's very true. It's a great point. I mean, the holidays are a time, and historically and trend-wise, it's always a time when families are looking for products to help their loved ones. Because what happens is they go and visit them, or they're all together. And as a group and as a community, they observe, it might be time to have something to help the family or the elder along. So we do see kind of an uptick, if you will, of interest during the holidays. And one thing I can suggest to people is we created what we think, I'm obviously biased, but we think it's a fun animation that's on our website that does a nice job, and it's really in many ways talking to the elder about why Lively could be a great fit for them, talking about the fact that we designed it to be as non-intrusive as possible, and have a lot of fun aspects to it. And so if people go and show that to their loved ones, it's often a great way to introduce Lively, and that's on our website, which is mylively.com, as we mentioned before.
And so, having been in this business now for over 6 years, is the number one reason why people go to the ER when they get older is because they've fallen. Okay. And a doctor friend of mine told me one day that the number one reason, he used to be an ER doctor, the number one reason people fall and end up in the ER is because they haven't had enough, they're dehydrated. They haven't had enough liquid. So one of the ways I see using Lively in the home is putting one of these stylish sensors on their water pitcher or something that you're able to keep track of their fluid intake.
No, it's a great point. It's exactly what we're seeing families do, because we actually include 2 of these sensors for the kitchen. Generally, one goes on the refrigerator. If they don't use the refrigerator much, they can put it on something else in the kitchen. And then the other one, people can put it anywhere they want in the kitchen. And what we're finding is many are putting it on the water pitcher. Those pretty well-known Brita water pitchers is a great way to do that. Yeah. And basically the way it works is when you pick that pitcher up to pour water, that gives indication that you're using it. And even if you pick it up to refill the water, that's also helpful, right? Because we know then that it's being used to consume water, which is a great indicator of health. And so what we're really focused on is, can Lively be a way to help prevent things like falls? Because as Bob is saying, the more active you are, the less chance there will be to have something like a fall occur. And so Lively does a great job of helping the family see how active their loved ones are, and the loved ones themselves become aware of their own activity or lack thereof if they're not moving around as much as they could.
And I hear on a regular basis, a daughter, I'll go to a home and the daughter will say, Mom was always immaculately dressed. Her house was always perfect. And I'm starting to see signs that that's not happening anymore. Like she's not bathing as often as she has in the past. So one of the other ways I see using one of these sensors is on the shower door.
Exactly.
Because now she can actually put it on the shower door and know that Mom has opened and closed the door. Therefore, in theory, she's taken a shower.
Exactly. And these are designed for just that. So they are fully water resistant. There's different levels of waterproofing in the world. So basically, if you drop one of these sensors in the water and pick it up quickly, it's not a problem at all. It's not designed to go swimming or go diving, but you can imagine that's not how they're designed. But they're perfect for the shower door. And we see people using that all the time because it is a great indicator of overall health, as well as that daily pattern.
Now, we talked about it in the very beginning, but let's reiterate it again, because I found this fascinating, is that it doesn't require an internet access because it actually connects with Wi-Fi that's available free everywhere.
Actually, it connects using a cellular network.
Okay.
So what happens is you plug it in, and that's all set up. Nobody setting this up has to deal with any of that. We've already done that for you. So when you plug it in, it just starts talking to the cellular towers out there, just like our cell phones do. But it's not tied to your cell phone plan. You don't have to call up your cell phone provider. It just starts working once you plug it in. And then the sensors talk to that little hub that we've plugged into the wall, and then we send that information to our website, obviously very secure, and then only people who have access to that login can go in and see the information.
Well, let's talk about how simplistic it is, because when I went and installed it, all I did was plug in the device into the wall and got the connection, because it tells you, the little light comes on and tells you got a connection.
Exactly.
And then I went and placed the sensors around, and then I kind of interviewed the client and said, let's talk about your habits. Are you taking medication in the morning? Are you taking medication in the evening, which is the most common practice? And how much are you eating, and when are you eating? So I kind of established a routine up front. When do you take your medication? Do you get up in the morning? It's part of our normal interview process when we start a new client. So I had a baseline to start with, and that helped me establish what to track.
Exactly.
And watching the sensors.
Exactly. And, we spent a lot of time on making the installation as simple as possible, because what we found, most products out there, literally on their website, if they even had one, or in their direct mail piece, it just said, call to schedule an installation. And when we thought about those products, we felt like we could really design something that anybody could install. And, one of my favorite stories, we have a customer in Florida, a gentleman named Bill, and he's 91 years old. And he installed the Lively hardware in 4 minutes. So he literally plugged it in. He told me, he said, I did it in 4 minutes. He kind of timed himself, and he plugged it in, and then he put the sensors around the home, and he was ready to go. And we're not saying that every single person installs it on their own, but it's very doable for them to do that if they want to.
And if you're listening, the best way to access this is go to mylively.com.
mylively.com, and we also have an 800 number for people to ask questions, and that number is 888-757-0711. I'll read that one more time. It's 888-757-0711.
And we'll take another break.
Sounds good. You are listening to Aging Matters with your host, Robert Nations, the newest Ask the Expert program. Find out more information at ksro.com. We'll be right back. This is KSRO.
You've been listening to Aging Matters with Robert Nations on the news and talk of Sonoma County, 1350 KSRO.
1350 KSRO, the station Sonoma County depends on for breaking news and compelling talk, now talks the issues weekdays 9 to noon with the Laura Ingraham Show.
Mom really wanted to stay in her own home, but I was concerned that between the kids and work, I couldn't always be there for her. And then my best friend told me about Senior Helpers.
Dad has been doing so much better now that Senior Helpers is there to help. Thank goodness for Senior Helpers.
In-home care, health and wellness care.
Dad just refused to even talk about moving in with us, much less a home.
With Senior Helpers, I quit worrying about Mom missing her medication or not eating well, or worse yet, taking a fall.
Companion care, home care, Alzheimer's and dementia care. Care and comfort at a moment's notice.
Mom loves the extra help around the house.
We know Dad is getting the care and the comfort he needs.
Senior Helpers, professional trained caregivers. Visit us online or call Senior Helpers today to learn how we can help care for your loved one.
Go to seniorhelpers.com/Sonoma or call 707-525-1540.
Whether you're in need of a loaf of bread for lunches, tri-tip for dinner, some snacks for the little ones, party goods for the weekend, or paper towels for a month, you'll find everything you need at Smart & Final Extra. It will make you rethink the way you shop. Because Smart and Final Extra has the low prices of a Walmart, the big sizes of a Costco without the membership fees, plus the freshness and selection of your local supermarket. So why spend the time running around to do your shopping when you can get it all in one place? There's nothing to join and no club cards to carry. We know life comes in all sizes. We think your savings should too. Smart and Final Extra. Warehouse prices, big and small sizes.
Through December 24th at Smart and Final, Farmer John's spiral sliced bone-in half or whole hams are just $1.49 a pound with a $25 minimum purchase while supplies last. See store for complete details. Holiday savings come in all sizes at Smart and Final.
1350 KSRO, the news and talk of Sonoma County.
This is Aging Matters with your host, Robert Nations, on the news and talk of Sonoma County, 1350 KSRO.
And we're going to wrap up today with our final little segment here with David Glickman with Lively. And it's been really great having you.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. It's we were just commenting while we were off the air shortly how fun it is and how quick it goes by when you're just kind of having a conversation about things we all care about.
Absolutely. Now, as a home care agency, this has a lot of value to me because, you know, to get a caregiver engaged with a client, I have to guarantee them X amount of work. And so we have a 3-hour minimum, okay? I go sit down with clients on a regular basis, and it's really hard to justify having somebody come into a home that's immaculate. They're doing their own laundry, they're doing their own meals, and they don't really need somebody 3 hours a day. So this becomes a great tool for me to help engage with somebody that needs a little bit of help with Lively.
No, I think that's a great point, and what we're seeing with other senior helper organizations or franchisees, as well as organizations around the country and individual families. And you know, one thing we haven't talked about yet, because I think we've been so excited about how the product just works for people, is affordability. That was one
I
of
was
our
getting
big,
there. Yeah.
I figured you were. That was one of our real design goals, if you will. When you design a new product or experience, you think about what are the things that are most important for your community of users. And what we found were solutions were extremely expensive, and we didn't feel like they needed to be. And so we designed Lively to be literally what we call kind of consumer price point, meaning a family can buy it even if insurance may or may not be in the picture. And so for Lively, you spend $149 up front, and that's for the hardware, meaning those 6 stylish sensors and the hub. And that comes with 2 months free of a monthly subscription that's part of the service. And so we designed that so people can try it and have a full 60 days to just really get immersed in this before they have to start paying the monthly subscription. And the monthly subscription is $19.95 a month. And that includes that connectivity that we talked about for the hub. It includes as many family members or care teams, care providers to be a part of what we call the Lively Circle, the people that can see the routine page. And then perhaps most importantly includes Livelygram, the mailer that we talked about that comes twice a month. And so for that fee, a family is able to not only feel more connected and more secure about how their loved one's doing, but more importantly, your loved one who's living on their own or more independently every 2 weeks has this wonderful touch point from their family in the form of these photos to have more context. So the next time their granddaughter calls, they can say, oh, yeah, I saw the picture of you scoring that goal in soccer, or I saw your holiday performance. And I'm sorry I couldn't be there because you live across the country, but I feel like I was because you, your mother or you sent that picture very easily using their phone. They didn't have to do anything else. We printed out a mailer, and all Grandma in this case had to do was go to her mailbox, and she had the Livelygram.
And something we said before, and maybe it was when we were offline, I think having a My Lively put into someone's home makes them more conscious of it being there. And I think, in general, my guess would be they're gonna do a better job with whatever being monitored. If it's because they're being forgetful with their medication, having that sensor on there is going to make them more conscious of it. So therefore, I think they're going to be more apt to remember to take their medication. What do you think?
I think that's right, and we're finding that already, in particular because we've struck the right balance of not being too intrusive. The problem before was people felt like they were being watched because it literally was a video camera or literally a motion sensor that's watching a body move through the home, and that's just creepy to people. What we have done is, in a similar way that there are now things called Fitbit and Jawbone and these things
I got
you
my
wear on your
Jawbone right
wrist.
Here. Yes.
Yeah. I saw Bob had one on his wrist. similar in those devices, they help people be more self-aware and empower them. It's really about empowering the elder to have a sense of and an appreciation of their increased activities of daily living. And the way you do that successfully for our elder populations is you do it in a way that's not too intrusive. And we think we've really struck that balance.
Yeah, because it's really interesting, and that's how I came to that conclusion, is because since I've got my band on my wrist, my sleep pattern, because I monitor it every night, my sleep has gotten better.
Yeah,
it's actually increased.
Same principle.
So let's wrap up because we've just got a couple minutes. How do we get in touch with you? How do we find you again?
Yeah, a couple ways to find us. One is if you are in front of a computer right now or will be later, jot down our website, which is www.mylively, so MYLIVELY.com. And then always you can call our 800 number and talk to one of my colleagues and learn more about what we're doing. And the phone number is 888-757-0711. I'll say that once more time. It's 888-757-0711. And you can buy the product on our website. You can buy it over the phone, and you can even buy it on Amazon.com. I encourage people to look there, actually, because there's some wonderful reviews of people that are using Lively today. And, let's let them speak for their experience about how it works.
And next week we're going to have Stephen Campbell on, a local
I love
guy.
Stephen. He's
Stephen
wonderful.
Campbell's got some great thoughts. So look forward to that next week.
All right.
So have a happy holiday.
Thank you. You too. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
This is Aging Matters on KSRO.